Providence, Rhode Island, welcome to ParentCast. It's a podcast dedicated to new parents, new babies, and their new lives together. Stop laughing at me. So listen and relax because it's free, it's funny, and it's a lot better than therapy. Why are you laughing at me? Why are you laughing? Fine, whatever.
I'm laughing. Right, go ahead. Go ahead.
Why are you laughing for real?
Just introduce yourself. Go ahead.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 14 of ParentCast. I'm your host, Mary Larson.
My name is Blake, and I'm married to an insane woman.
Why am I insane?
Because every time the theme song comes on, you do this weird little Indian dance or something.
You kind of is like Navajo, dancing around the fire dance.
I feel like I'm married to like Kevin Costner, in Dances with Wolves, and
I am part Cherokee. But you're right. That music has nothing to do with, I don't even know what's going on. But no, I shouldn't. I throw my hands in the air, everybody, and I kind of like bounce around on my seat. It's true.
You look like gummy bears dancing up and down full of juice. Okay. If you remember that cartoon, I don't know.
That was one of my favorite cartoons, yes.
Gummy bear.
So as I was saying, everyone, welcome to episode 14 of ParentCast.
This is a total mess. Right. Oh my God. No. Let's keep going.
It's because I'm so hot. We don't have our air conditioner put in yet. And I'm like sweating. And this is just terrible. But nonetheless, today's topic is all about things that parents say.
Well, they should stop saying to non-parents.
Oh, okay.
Wait, hey, nice show prep.
Thank you. It's so hot. It's like melting my brain.
Yeah, no, it's all about what parents should stop saying to non-parents. And I realized as I was doing the show prep, unlike somebody, I say like half of this stuff.
Oh, that's
and we're going to get into it, in this episode, but I say like half of it, maybe even more. And I've become a total elitist. I realized.
Over who? Who are you elite over?
Non-parents.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. It's sad to say. And I hate being that guy, that judgy guy, or the judgy parent that's always like, oh, well, if you had kids, But I can't help it. It's terrible.
It is. It's so funny listening to these different things, these conversations that you're not really supposed to have because it is rude. Now looking back on it, I realize it does probably upset people or hurt people's feelings. So
I know.
We live and learn, and hopefully we'll help educate other people. Speaking about educating,
I know, right?
We've got some great feedback. People have been educating us on what they think about the show.
Let's get into it. Julie W. on Facebook told us that she just got done listening to how to make birthday parties not suck. Yeah. And she said that she almost spit out her water that she was drinking as she listened to us say that you forgot to pass out Reese's goodie bags at the party because she did the same exact thing at her party. So it was like, oh my God. I did the same exact thing.
Julie, now you have tons of swag at your house, whatever it is. If you packed bubbles like I packed, you're going to be set for life. So I hope that your swag bags were really good. Or maybe they're like gummy bears, something that you like to eat.
Or maybe they're sucky like ours. It's stuff that you just cannot use.
Because you know what I love? When you don't have a lot of kids come over your house for Halloween and you're stuck with a Halloween candy. And if you were not smart, you bought the candy that you really liked and then you get super fat. But if you got the candy that you didn't like, then you're stuck with like Mounds.
I know. Nobody likes Mounds.
No.
I don't know one person that likes Mounds candy bars.
But that's why you buy it, because then it's in your house. And if you don't have a lot of kids come, you're stuck with Mounds and you won't eat it.
No, but honestly, answer this question. Do you know one person that likes Mounds candy bars?
I do. Do you
really?
I don't like Almond Joy. I don't like the almonds on it, but I like that coconut.
You like Mounds?
Yeah.
Oh my God. This is like something I'm really learning right now, this very moment.
Yes. Some people like nuts.
Oh my
Some
God.
don't.
I'm a no nut kind of guy.
That's what I'm... Whatever.
That's why we're married.
Okay. So we also got some great feedback from Jamie Coelho up on Facebook. She listened to the same episode, and she said that she listened to it while she was doing the dishes. Wow. Next up, she's going to listen to us while she's in traffic. She said that listening to ParentCast makes everything better. It's like butter. She didn't say the butter part. But
it's like butter. You're just so much better, just like butter.
And we also received an email from Jennifer. I don't know if I was supposed to say Jamie's last name.
You weren't.
Oh, crap.
I let it slide.
Thank Thank you. Sorry, Jamie. Well, Jennifer she emailed us and she said that she's been listening to our show and she loves it. The topics that you guys have are wonderful. They always tend to be what to try and what you ask friends for who have kids, what they're going for through the first time. I cannot read right now. Anyway, Jennifer had this great idea that we do a segment possibly with book suggestions.
Oh, yeah, that's a really good idea.
Loved this idea from Jennifer. And yes, we are totally going to take you up on that idea. And she also said that she loves the mom and dad roundtables. They're awesome. And it's nice to know people are experiencing the same thing as you while being pregnant and becoming a parent. So she said that she listens to all of the episodes and it's great. Thank you so much, Jennifer, for writing in. That made our day.
At ParentCast@gmail.com. Yeah, that's right. And then, we also put on Facebook a suggestion for the listeners to give us ideas for episode 16. Well, we actually said episode 15, but we're changing it to episode 16. We thought it'd be really cool to get you guys to tell us what you want us to talk about. I mean, we have ideas for days, but it would be awesome if you could tell us.
Yeah, we want to know what you guys want to hear.
Yeah, so Cara B suggested that we should do one on child-proofing, especially old houses where nothing is like standard. Like, how do you go ahead and child-proof your 40 billion-year-old house?
Love it.
Jessica R. thought we should talk about pregnancy and birth differences between an OB and a midwife and actually have both of them come in, kind of like a round table, and just talk about it.
And have them duke it out, possibly.
Yeah, they'd fight to the death.
No, Game of Thrones.
I know. Oh,
who's
the red
mountain
viper.
And who's the viper? Oh, no spoilers.
Sorry,
no spoilers.
Spoilers. Okay. And then she also actually suggested, too, how to maintain relationships with your single, kidless friends, which is a task that's none too easy.
It is not. You bribe them with beer to come over when the babies are asleep.
I know.
That's what we do. But I think that's a great idea, Jessica.
More on beer later, by the way. And Kim M., she wants to know if we could do an episode on how to stay connected with work and the baby at the same time. Ooh. So how to walk that tightrope.
We love all of these suggestions. So I think what's going to happen is we're going to have a poll up on Facebook and you can vote which of these you'd like to hear first. But I think honestly, they're all great suggestions. So we'll be doing them all.
Yeah, I think we should do them all maybe eventually.
You're all winners.
I know. Yay. You all get a trophy. It's that time of life. No, I think you should just keep getting ideas to us. Get the Facebook there and we'll vote on it and we'll figure it out and we'll take care of it.
All right, now that we are done with our awesome listener feedback, it is time to step into the judgment-free zone.
Boom.
Blake, it is your turn. What do you have this week for us?
So the other day, I was changing Reese, and during the whole process, I got a whole system that I do. I get the diaper off of him. I get the new diaper underneath him as I'm changing him. I get everything ready to go, and I also have this thing where I clean his penis a little bit because that's my job. I take care of that. Unfortunately, I have a real serious problem that, like, when I concentrate, and I notice Reese does this too. When I concentrate, like, I have my mouth open and my tongue comes out and everything. And I was really focusing on getting that penis clean. I really needed to get that clean because I hadn't done it in like the past couple of days. And I looked up and I was looking at something. I heard like sound like over there, like, oh, something happened. And I turned back around and I was concentrating, ready to clean the penis again. And I got a mouthful of pee. A mouthful of pee.
That is so gross.
I was horrified. I felt like Jim Carrey in that scene in Ace Ventura when he realizes he kisses a man. And I needed to take a shower. Ew. And just wipe my mouth with soap because it was that bad.
I am so sorry that you went through that. And you know what it has taught you, though?
What?
You can't take your eyes off the road.
No, you can't. Don't text and drive.
Don't text and drive. Don't call your Aunt Louise. Just focus on the task at hand. Clean up the undercarriage.
It was warm and it was gross. It was awful.
Well, I'm sorry.
Just don't open your mouth when you're changing your kid.
No.
Just don't do it.
Gross.
Ugh.
Now that we are all thoroughly grossed out and probably need to take a shower ourselves,
yeah,
let's jump into today's topic. Joining us now via Skype is our friend Jim D. How you doing, Jim?
I'm doing fantastic.
Tell our listeners. Tell our listeners a little bit about yourself.
Well, I just moved up here from Florida. I'm a pilot by trade, and I don't have any kids. Thank you. Thank God.
Wow, that's awesome, Jim.
And we also are joined again by our guest who was on before, Erik.
Hey, guys.
And Erik, once again, you do not have any children, correct?
Absolutely not.
So the topic of today's conversation is based upon an article that was written on Huffington Post titled 5 Things Parents Need to Stop Saying to Non-Parents. So Blake and I thought it would be a really great idea to have 2 of our friends who are not parents to come on and give us an idea if these questions bug them.
Oh yeah, turn the tables a little bit on the parents.
Oh, can't wait.
I know, Jim.
I love it.
I know, Jim. What are you going to think about this? You know, you ready to give it back to us yet?
I'm brimming with hate. Let's do it.
I've been keeping notes in my back pocket for 13 months now. You have no idea.
Fair enough.
So we also thought that it would be a good idea to have what's called the hate scale. And what they're going to do, these guys are going to rate each and everything that we go over by the hate scale. 1 being, whatever, and to 5 being the worst. And we thought, 1 would be like a hall pass, like we'll let you get away with that. 2 is you're pretty much getting the judgy eyes from across the room. 3 is you're getting a snarky comment behind your back. 4 is I hope you get pink eye and it swarms your household. And 5, I hope you're condemned to a minivan for the rest of your life.
Oh,
I know.
It's like out of my worst nightmares. That and like that swarm of moms on the boulevard that like jog with like the 30 strollers and yeah.
They give me the judgy eye because I do not want to pay $10 to jog.
No, pay $10 for a friend that was called a sorority in college. We don't do that anymore.
Exactly. So these are 5 questions, and Jim and Erik, you're going to let us know, based upon that scale, how much you hate when people say this.
All right.
When parents say this to you. Okay, number 1, when a parent says dogs are not kids.
Erik, let's start with you on this one.
Sure. So if anybody remembers me from my last appearance on ParentCast, I have a cat who I love and adore very, very much. Now, I'll start by saying that nobody in their right mind actually thinks that their dog or their cat or their respective animal is like having a kid. I think what people are trying to say when they do this is they're trying to relate to their friends in some kind of way and basically say, there's something else I give a crap about and something that like I'm emotionally attached to that I have to feed and clean up afterwards. And we know that it's not the same as, my kid just threw up and I've got to get up in the middle of the night. We know that. I think that's just our well-intentioned attempt to try to relate in some way, shape, or form. I will say, though, that there are some crazies out there that think their dog actually is their child, like in diapers them and puts clothes on them and everything like that. So I'm not talking that extreme. But
what's your hate scale on this?
Yeah, when a parent, when someone says to you, like, your cat is not your kid.
I'm doing about the judgy eyes, too. Number
Wow.
2. Yeah, a little bit of the judgy eyes.
Jim, what do you think? What's your hate scale on this one?
I'm gonna have to agree with Erik on this. Yeah, it's obvious. Your cat or your dog is not a kid. I mean, you don't have to take it to soccer practice. You don't have to, bring it to school. I mean, I guess, but
You could bring it to school, I suppose, but
yeah, that's why I kind of paused there. But yeah, it's ridiculous that anybody would actually think that a child and a pet are one and the same. Yeah, I agree. I've come across these crazies that, Mr. Snugglesworth needs to go get his hair done or whatever. I got to put him in daycare. Like, are we talking about a child or a dog? I mean,
Jim, I have to tell you this. I was just out somewhere and I heard some girl tell me that she had to plant seeds for her husband to buy her gifts for Mother's Day. And I was like, oh, I didn't know you had a baby. She's like, oh, no, it's for the dog. We celebrate Mother's Day because I have a dog. How do you feel about that?
I think the rising tide of vomit coming up is pretty much how I feel about that. That's insane. I mean, this person should be locked away someplace. I hope this person doesn't have a child. How is he going to treat the child? That's my question.
I think it's one of those things where that might be okay in the walls of your own home. I think when you start telling people and exposing that part of yourself to other people, that's where I think it crosses a little bit of that line in social acceptability.
Yep.
The second that kid comes out, your lives are so different. So I think it's those people's attempts to try to relate to something in common with you and just make you feel like, oh, I've got something too, because they know that the connection between the two of you, it's going to start to wane drastically. So I think it's some people's attempt to try to like hang on.
Question number 2 goes a little something like this. Oh, you think you're so blank? Well, try doing that while you're having kids. So for an example, oh, you think you're tired now? Try it having kids. Oh, you think you're stressed? Try it when you have kids. You think you're really tired after working 50 hours a week? Try that doing having kids. I've been chasing my toddler around all day. So they basically take whatever you are, whatever emotion you have, and then say, yeah, try it having a kid.
They just demean you, you know? They just devalue everything in your life, essentially.
Yeah.
Eric, what's your hate scale?
My hate scale on that is I'm hoping you're going to get a good case of pink eye that swarms through your house.
Number 4.
That's a 4. And my reason for that is because what that does is it diminishes the other person's feelings, and everything is all about context. So everything that we do is in the context of our life. And if I'm very tired, like, look, I don't have kids, so you know I'm probably putting in 60 hours worth of work a week. So I'm probably going to be really tired after that work week. But if I have a kid, I'm probably not putting in the 60 hours a week, because I don't generally have that time to do so. So I just think it's one of those things where, you know what? This is my life. You don't know the kind of stress I'm going under. You don't know the kind of stuff that I have happening right now, what goes on in my head. And I'm sure, and I am not devaluing your tiredness because you've got a kid now, but don't devalue my tiredness because I don't have a kid.
Jim, what's your hate scale?
I'm probably going to have to go with 4 on that as well. I mean, yeah, what Eric was saying is absolutely correct. I think it's kind of like emotional hijacking. I mean, like he said, it's completely devalues whatever sob story that you, or horrible experience that you've just tried to relate to your friend who's a parent, and then they come with this tidal wave of hate almost. They basically say, oh, well, try having a kid, or you didn't have to just clean up crap, or change a diaper. I mean. A lot of times, I don't think people really realize that they're saying that. But do I feel bad for them? No, I don't. And then just the anger myself, it's just I can't even articulate sometimes how many times I've actually heard that, and the way it made me just kind of like, okay, end of conversation. I'm done talking to you.
End of line.
End of line.
Did you guys ever remember the SNL sketch from probably like 5 years ago that Kristen Wiig played? It was called Penelope The One Upper.
No.
Well, you definitely,
I have seen that.
yeah. So definitely YouTube that, and she was the person that no matter what anybody else said in the room, it was something on top of that. So something along the lines of,
Can't even tell you just had a baby. You look great.
Oh, thank you. I lost the first 15 pounds pretty easily, and my doctor said
I just lost like 20 pounds. 25 pounds. So just like a little over 20.
So whenever someone does that to me, I think of Penelope, and it just the rage and the fire of 1,000 suns goes through my veins.
I gotta defend parents though, because you sit there and you got so much stuff going on, and you may not be working 60 hours a week, but you're working 50 or you're working 45 or whatever, and then you gotta go home and you gotta take care of your kid, and then you gotta make sure that the dinner's cooked, and you gotta do all that. There's no such thing as napping anymore. There's no such thing as, oh, let's just hang out on the couch and do whatever. You have to make sure that your kid's taken care of. And that is a huge freaking responsibility. So when they sit there and they say, well, if you're tired, why don't you do it? If you, if they, well,
use your words, please.
Sorry,
use
I know.
your words.
I'm so like
English.
English. Do you speak it?
See what being a parent does to you. You can't form words anymore.
I'm all flustered now. No, it's if you think you're stressed out or you think you're in pain, try having that with kids. And they can't help but say it because it's ingrained in their blood.
Do you think that parents say that because they're looking for sympathy or empathy from their friend? Really, empathy from their friends in that sense?
I think it's a little bit of a competition. I think it's a little bit of empathy, or maybe sympathy. Which was the one that you like?
Empathy is when you haven't gone through it, so you're trying to feel.
Oh, okay. So sympathy is the
person.
other one where you have gone through it.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. Good. Yeah. So I think they're looking for some kind of sympathy. Oh no, empathy.
Empathy.
And it's the competition. It's the empathy. It's kind of like, screw you. I'm a parent, and you just get to go home and go to bed.
I say this in my head, especially that first year when Reese didn't sleep at all, and I would have people come up to me, and they would be talking about their day and say, oh my God, I stayed up late last night watching Sex and the City repeats. I am so tired. And I just look at them and I'd say, yeah, Because in my head, I'm saying, oh, you're so tired. I haven't slept in 3 weeks. And it wasn't because I chose to stay up. It's because I have a child. But I don't think I would really try to say this out loud and say, you don't know what it's really like. I'll echo it, or I was like, I'm tired too. Let's go get a Frappuccino because we're tired little bitties. But I wouldn't want to throw it in someone's face. Number 3. How do you guys feel about this? When people say, don't worry, when you'll have kids, you'll be used to that. So, for example, don't worry, when you have kids, you're not going to be grossed out by boogers. Or don't worry, when you have kids, you're going to be so happy. Or when you have kids, ... Fill in the blank with whatever you want here.
Jim, what's your hate scale?
This one isn't. This would probably just kind of give. I'd say a 2 on this, and I understand, even being a non-parent, that when I talk to you guys or anybody else who has kids, I understand that their metric for life changes. Especially when you have a child, I get that your perspective on things change is a bit different. So it's not as bad as the one that we just talked about. So I understand it's not as bad as everything else.
How about you, Eric? How do you feel? Because I know someone around this table who has actually said this to people many times. Oh, when you have kids, man, you don't even know. Let me see if I can say that better. When you have kids, man, you don't even know. You don't even know, guy. All right?
Listen.
It's wicked pizza. That's basically what I've heard many a times.
Listen, I know you ain't talking about me. I'm still looking around the table. I'll look at Eric. I know you don't got kids. So I'm still looking around. And I know you ain't. Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
Are you talking about me?
I am. You say this to people.
I don't think I've ever said this to somebody ever.
I think he's even said it to Jim. Jim, has he ever said it to you like, oh, man, when you have kids...
Yes, he has.
See?
He's lying.
Blake, I've heard you say it.
No, how do those bus tires feel, pal?
He's doing it.
I've heard you say it to so many different friends.
He's lying. Yeah. He's doing his lying voice. I can hear it, just to spite me.
Okay. Well, Eric, how do you
feel? No, not at all.
How do you feel about this one, Eric?
I'm actually going to go with the 1. You guys get a hall pass on this one. You guys, parents generalizing. I think what it does do, though, I think you got to be careful with your words, because you're projecting on the other person and assuming that is part of their life plan. That having kids is next thing on the checklist for them. And more and more and more every single day, I meet more people, men and women, in straight relationships and same-sex relationships, that are choosing not to have kids for whatever reason it might be, and it's just you're almost putting it to them that this is going to be your life path, and it's assuming that if they don't do that, that's not okay, and that their life is not following the path that it absolutely should. So I think that there's a very small undertone to it, but it can have a little bit more impact. So I know when Blake has said that to me before, but I never usually think anything too much of it. But what it does get you thinking, as someone who doesn't have kids and who, frankly, kids are not on my life plan at this moment, it makes you start to wonder, am I doing something wrong now that I'm not doing it? So, I don't think it's not malicious. It's very well intentioned. So I'm going to go with hall pass.
Yeah, I think that parents do. I think you're right. People need to be a little bit more cognizant about if this is in someone's plan, because
or even if they can have kids.
Well, that's exactly it. You could be hitting a nail on the head. I think when people say this, they often say it to other married couples or couples who are serious. Oh, when you guys have kids, you're going to love Halloween, or you're going to love throwing birthday parties. And maybe they can't have kids. Maybe they're trying, or maybe they just want to be a couple. And I find that many married couples who have made this choice to not have children, it stinks, because people just think this is the next progression. You're in a serious relationship, you're definitely going to want to have kids next, and that's not true. So I agree. People need to know their audience a little bit better.
Okay, I may have to confess. I may or may not.
Here it comes.
I may or may not have said this
Buzzing.
to somebody. Maybe at this table, maybe on the other line, maybe other people. I don't know. I don't know. I may or may not. I'm just throwing that out there.
It's just because you love having a kid so much.
I kind of do.
I know.
I kind of do.
And we love that you love having a kid.
Just shut the hell up.
We absolutely love that you love having a kid, and it doesn't even come down to that. It's just that it's assuming that everybody else is going to fit into what your life plan was at the same time.
Yeah.
Number 4. How do you guys feel when parents ask if your party or if your gathering is kid-friendly, or in our instance, baby-friendly. Jim, why don't you go first on this? If someone were to say, oh, you're throwing a party? Can I bring my kid?
How about no?
First of all, no party that Jim's going to throw is going to be baby-friendly.
No, not at all.
It's not going to happen.
So, again, that's goes for, because I'm still at the stage where I'm not really thinking about having kids. So I tend to think of just, me, my friends, and, the horrible things that we do. It's unthinkable to bring a child. It's irresponsible. It's dangerous. So unless that kid likes to see the inside of a prison cell at age 3, it's not that bad, but...
What's your hate scale, at least?
I'd say probably about a 3. Because,
So you're going to make a snarky comment behind someone's back. Be like, bro, he just asked me if this potty was kid-friendly. You serious?
Yeah. Boy. Yeah, well, that brings out another bunch of questions. Okay, well, am I going to have to lock up my booze? Am I going to have to, watch my language? Am I going to have to, rein in some of my friends who may or may not have some sort of mental issues? Is it a safe environment for a child is basically what I'm saying. Kids are impressionable. I understand that. What if they see me clanging down, half a bottle of Jameson in a half hour? That's not a good environment to have a kid. But I'm saying if you do have a party that's kid-friendly, at least bring other kids and have them kind of cordoned off. It's kind of like your last podcast where you asked how to not make a child's first birthday suck. Okay, it goes by what I said last night is make sure there's other people there that don't have kids, But if they do bring kids, make sure there's a space for them that no sort of they're not going to be exposed to my type of debauchery.
Eric, how about you? What's your hate scale?
On this, I'm a little bit of a. I'm gonna probably say something nasty about you behind your back, so I'm going with a 3.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, I think that there are certain degrees and levels to this. For instance, I know in the article the guy says that if it was kid friendly, we would have told you with the initial invite that by the way, bring your kids. It depends. Like a baby, like someone like Reese's age. Reese is getting to the point where he's impressionable, but not so much to the point where like if someone drinks a little too much or swears or something, it's not going to be as ingrained. But 6 months from now, that's totally going to change. So I think it just depends on the kid as well. And frankly, you also have to think too, not everybody else at that party wants to be at a party with kids. Mm-hmm. So your guests might walk in and say, oh, it's that kind of party. Or again, they might feel restrained from vocalizing what they want to or say what they want to or do what they want to. And what it can sometimes do is create bitterness. It can create bitterness between the family that says, oh, we're going to bring our kid to all these parties and the people that are hosting them. And that's only increasing the divide that happens. So I can see that happen. That's not happened to me at all. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this is just kind of going on what my gut is. But I'm kind of falling in the middle of it, but I'll probably do a little bit of a judgy comment.
Could you imagine if we brought Reese to a party and like we came home and he was like, hey, Dad, give me a handle of Fireball.
Oh, God.
Well, I think about this, especially when you have a newborn baby and say you need to be feeding your baby. And if you're nursing, particularly, you need to be stuck to your baby. So you just kind of take him or her wherever you go. And I could totally see myself showing up to someone's party that probably wasn't kid friendly, wearing my baby in my Moby wrap, like ready to breastfeed and hang out with everybody,
all
having the Jameson. Oh yeah. But I can also see how that might kind of turn people off a little bit, but that is a brand new baby. However, my child, who is now a toddler, he's pretty much Godzilla. If I were to take him over to someone's house, he would rip everything down. He would cry. He would, eat half of their library. I mean, he's a menace right now. So I don't think I would bring him. I would have to ask. And you're right. I think it would put some people in sometimes an awkward situation.
If you have a newborn and like the newborn is basically just like sitting there sleeping, and it really doesn't add anything or take away from the dynamic of a room. Like I said, like it's not impressionable at that point. But also, like, on the other side, the friends who don't have the kids who are inviting are probably, they also should probably be a little bit intuitive enough at this point to say, like, flat out say, it's not a kid party, or feel free to bring your kid. And then you just need to have an understanding that, like, the lives are totally different now. And that those people just might not be able to do that kind of stuff anymore, or at least right then and now.
Unless you're Jim.
And I think as
Just consider your audience. That's all.
As parents, you need to just kind of be understanding. You're right that not everybody is a parent, and not everybody has children yet, and their houses aren't baby proof. That might not be part of what they want to have for this party. So it's okay to ask. Just know that non-parents will most likely say no.
Reese can always come over. You know that, right?
Thank you. Yep. He'll just eat your cat.
That's fine.
I wouldn't bring him over to my place.
No. Moving on to number 5. This is the last topic. How do you guys feel when a parent says that his or her life didn't have meaning before I had kids? Oh, Eric is raising his hand pridefully. I know I've said this. I have said, this has brought so much meaning to my life. Blah, blah, blah.
So I'll preface it by saying, like, all right, so what you just said right there, this has brought so much meaning to my life. It's totally different than saying my life didn't have meaning before I had kids. The way that it's said, and even just like the order of the words, can be taken so much out of context. When you say something like that to me, I know what you mean by it. Some other people, I don't think, do it that way. I have been in a position before where someone has said that to me, and it's a little, it strikes me a little, it strikes me really deeply. And it's sometimes can be hurtful, and I'm going to echo a lot what the writer of the article said as well. So just because we haven't used it yet, I'm going with the 5. I hope you are condemned to a Honda Odyssey for the rest of your life with crushed Cheerios, the little like DVDs on each back seat, playing some god-awful direct-to-DVD Disney movie with dirty, smelly soccer equipment in the back, and maybe a lacrosse stick if you're lucky.
Oh my God.
Special edition wood paneling on the sides.
Wood paneling on the side. No, I mean, I think that, and maybe I don't really feel like as so much a 5 about this, but just to kind of say what the writer said was that when that gets said to someone who hasn't had a kid yet, you were such a big part of that person's life before the child came around, and you were probably there for that person when they got pregnant, when they were having the kid, like when they were just about to, when they were preparing for it. And so I always go back to that word devalue. When something in that particular way is said, it kind of makes you feel like, so the life that we had before where we were in college and we hung out and we shared all these great trips and memories and stuff like that really didn't have meaning to you. Normal people, like the friends, the non-parent kids, we know in the back of our head, of course, they value the time that they had. It's just that this is bringing a new meaning and a different meaning to their life. So I think the way you said it is like, that's a normal way to say it. But when people say my life was meaningless before kids, or your life won't have meaning until you have kids, it just makes it just makes you feel like, oh, so my life is not going to have meaning until I pop one of these suckers out, if I ever do. And if I don't, there's no meaning whatsoever.
If you pop a sucker out, your life will have so much meaning because you will be a scientific marvel.
Seriously. So yeah, I mean that's how I feel about it. I just think that the words have to be chosen a little bit carefully, because to the wrong person, it can cut deeply, especially if it's someone that is trying and cannot have kids or never had the opportunity to have a child. I think it could cut deeply to someone like that.
Sure, Jim, what's your hate scale?
Probably a 4.5, I'll say.
So you're wishing that the family all gets pink eye and maybe might be shopping for a minivan.
Like you're in the market for a minivan at least.
Yeah, you're right. You've been going by that Honda dealership, and you've been spotting that wood-paneled Odyssey. But yeah, I have to agree with Eric on this. It depends on who you're asking and the tone of you're saying it. I mean, especially if you're asking somebody that you spend a large part of your life with, whether it's a best friend or whatever, saying that, oh, well, my life was completely meaningless up to this point. Nothing seemed to have mattered until I have a child. Yeah, it's gonna raise some eyebrows depending on the person that's being asked. But if it's to one of your friends that says, okay, well, just try and rephrase that for me a little bit. Because I'm pretty sure everything that we've done together and all that sort of stuff had plenty of meaning, and it defined us as friends or as people. If I was an unsuspecting person, I'd ask that. Yeah, it's definitely a vomit-encrusted Honda Odyssey for you.
I got to say, I look, I think I probably said all these things to some person one way or another, but I don't think I've ever said this to anybody. It's probably the dumbest thing I could ever think of to say to a non-parent. And like, for example, Jim, obviously none of the listeners, most of the listeners don't know. I've known Jim since like, I don't know, we were like, 10 or whatever. I've known him forever.
That sucks.
No, thanks. He's one of my best friends on the planet. He was in our wedding, and like, I would never imagine to think of saying this to him. I mean, the amount of beers that we've drank and like all the things that we've done. You know what? It may not be as like life altering as having a kid, but those things are still important.
And they led up to you.
Yeah,
becoming a father.
Yeah, they led up to me. They led up to me doing stupid crap, and then eventually meeting my wife, and then having that kid, and all those things are so very important to me. Without them, I wouldn't be the same. So even though it kills me to say this, without you, Jim, I just wouldn't be me.
Oh, you're so sweet.
Oh, thanks, buddy. I'm sure you're striving very hard not to, for Reese to turn out like me. Huh?
For me, it's a little tough because I definitely have said that one of the reasons I was put on this earth is to have Reese. And I am someone who always wanted to be a mom. And even when I was having some struggles with trying to get my body figuring out to be a mom, it takes a little bit of work sometimes. I knew I was going to have a child one way or another, whether that was adoption or if I was going to biologically going to have my own child. So I've definitely said things like this, and hopefully I have said it in a kind manner, like you said, Eric, so that I didn't offend anybody. But I personally feel like this is one of the main pinnacles of why I'm here. So I understand why some parents say that this is what has brought meaning to their life, but I do hope that they word it in a careful way and know their audience. That is the kicker. Well, thank you guys so incredibly much. We had a wonderful discussion. I think that these hate scale, especially being stuck with a minivan with Cheerios and wood paneling for the rest of my life. God, I hope I'm not stuck to that because I've definitely said something like that before. Well, thank you so much though for coming on. This was a blast.
You're very welcome.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
I like that
You're not supposed to say that to non-parents.
I know.
I like that you went through puberty, Blake.
I know, sorry, yeah.
Thank you once again to our fantastic guests, Eric and Jim, for coming on in.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun having them in. That was a great time.
Absolutely love those guys. And, it really is important to kind of see the other side once you've become a parent, to open your eyes and realize not everyone has a kid or cares the way that you do right now about your kid.
I know, and that was one of the things I have tried to pride myself on, which is like, I'm going to be that guy that's the voice of every man that doesn't have a kid. I'm the normal man. But you know what? I had a kid and I ain't normal no more.
It clouds your judgment.
It does.
That lack of sleep, it just kind of mutes you to the rest of the world. So having conversations like this it's really eye-opening, and I don't think it's something that friends would honestly feel very comfortable saying unless you bring it up. Like, hey, is there anything that I've said to you? Like, oh, you think you're tired, wait until you have a kid. That really was kind of inappropriate.
Or especially the one about the parties too. Like, oh, is this one kid friendly? Because as a parent, you're trying to be like, hey, you're trying to be cool with your friend, but you're forgetting that, dude, what if your friend just doesn't want your kid around?
Yeah, and if you're going to ask that kind of a question, I guess you really want to be cool with your friend and just say, listen, I just want to know, am I supposed to be bringing my kid or not? Because if not, great. I can't wait for a fun night out. I'll get a babysitter.
Let me please go drinking without my child.
So just to be a little bit more open-minded to all of our friends out there who do not have young ones slobbering and stuck to their thighs
God,
like I do.
I envy you so much.
Freedom.
Let's channel our best William Wallace impression here. That's right, Mel Gibson. You said it. Freedom. Freedom from kids. God, I love Braveheart.
Well, everyone, I think it's time to jump on in to the wines of the week. All right, Blake, let's start things off. What annoyed you beyond belief this week? What is your wine?
I can't tell if I should be annoyed or proud of this moment.
Okay.
But we're totally screwed.
Elaborate, please.
Totally friggin' screwed.
Okay.
Reese has finally figured out how to climb on top of the couch.
God, this literally just happened probably 2 hours before we were recording. He was looking at me across the room and ma. And that little bugger. You know what I think it is? I think it's because he's now wearing shorts.
Yeah.
So he gets the traction with his skin. Because
on the
before he
leather,
was in fleece. He was always in fleece long pants. So he was slippery. So maybe we should just put him back in his fleece pants, even if it's hot.
I don't care how hot it is. Just if it's 100 degrees, kid, you're in fleece.
Now, why is this your wine?
Because we're screwed. We're totally screwed. He's going to be everywhere. He's going to be climbing on top of our furniture. He's going to be climbing on top of us. He's going to be climbing on top of books and movies, and he's going to be tearing everything down. And our house is just going to be a mess.
I think the scary part of it is that he doesn't know how to get off the couch yet.
No, he definitely doesn't. And I love watching him fall off the couch because he has no idea what's going to happen.
Like, you sound so mean.
Well, it's my wine. You're hijacking my wine. Come on, what are we doing here? No, I love watching him fall off because it's like it almost learns him a little bit. Like, okay, you can do this, but there's going to be some consequences.
And he doesn't cry. He just kind of rolls and is like, oh, that didn't work. I'll need to try that again.
I know. But that's my wine. Our house is going to be totally screwed up from now on. Sorry, two fire trucks are just going past our house right now. If you might have heard that or not. Anyway, my darling, how about you?
My wine of the week is Aunt Flo.
Oh, I didn't think we were going to bring this one up. I thought this was a female problem.
This is a female problem, but females are half of our species. So you know what?
Actually, a little bit more than half, actually.
Yeah. So here's my issue. Like, no matter what, periods are no fun. Periods are fun when you're like, yay, Reese doesn't have a sibling yet. This is great. But, so maybe this could be a win of the week. But
that's a total win of the week.
But here's my real wine for you. Periods after you have your baby, they're out of control. Like, I have never felt wrath like this on my body. I've never been this emotional. You want to know what I did today?
What'd you do?
While Reese napped, I was so uncomfortable. I was so crampy. I was terrible that I just sat in bed while he napped. I ate Ben & Jerry's Phish Food, the froyo variety, and I rewatched Game of Thrones because I sat there and I said, this reminds me of labor. This stinks. You know what? I'm taking this off. I'm taking this hour off because it's period time.
Well, at least it was froyo. You save those extra calories. That's good.
I ate half of a container, so I needed to save those calories. But that's really it. It's like periods post childbirth. I don't know what happened to the hormones during that process, but they're out of control. I just hate everything about it. Length, uncomfortableness, you name it, I'm all set. I feel like I'm in 8th grade all over again. So that's my wine of the week.
Please, for the love of God, no more period talk. Just spare me, please.
You are spared.
Oh, thank God. I just hate everything about periods, the whole shebang. But let's get something a little bit more happy. Yay, wins. Mrs. Lawson, what do you got?
My win of the week is what I just previously mentioned a second ago. Reese has come up with all of these different consonants over time. He's been like da 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 since day one of wanting to babble. Then it was, some B's or some ducks. He had some K's in there.
You were saying ducks?
Yeah, that's what he calls book. He calls books like BOOK. He calls them ducks.
Really?
So, yeah, he will do the sign language for book and he'll call it a duck. That, however, is not my win. My win, my uplifting, exciting moment this week, after I found out I had my period, I heard my son say mama for the first time.
I know, it was really cute.
And he had this look. He's been doing a lot of when he's hungry, like that's really good. But he was sitting in bed and he goes, mama, mama, mama. And this look came over him like, holy crap, I just said what I've been meaning to say for a year. I'm saying mama's name. And he was looking at me and he kept going, mama, 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 mama. And I was like, yes, my son.
Thank you. Go forth, my son.
Because you have been saying dada forever. And I'm the one that takes care of your 90% of the time.
Whoa, time out.
90%. You do a great job at the
Come on,
times when
come
you
on.
do.
Help me out here. What do
4 a.m. At 4 a.m.,
Damn
you
straight.
are like daddy with all of the
I'm
medals.
super dad.
You are super dad. And
I've nailed
because
it.
of that, he said your name first. But
well, it's because I'm awesome.
But he finally
we've
said
already
mama.
established that. Our listeners know that I'm
correct.
awesome.
How about your win? What has just made you super pumped this week?
Well, the fact that my kid's turning into a human. He's totally turning into a human.
I think he was always a human. I don't know if he can morph.
I know. We talked about this kind of last podcast, but he's not ET, which is great. But he is a human now. He's like talking. Well, he's kind of babbling and everything, and he's eating real food and everything. But the best part about all of it is he's doing sign language.
Oh, can you say that again? Because that makes me feel like 6 or 7 months worth of you looking at me saying, "What are you doing teaching this kid sign language?" Say it one more time. What makes you really happy?
It's the sign language. Yeah, the sign language is phenomenal. And it's all really thanks to my darling wife sitting across from me at the table. He can finally now tell me that when he's all done, and he can tell me when he wants more of something, and he's pointing at whatever he wants and giving the more sign. And it's awesome. And it's no longer like looking at me and just screaming this high-pitched Jim Carrey-esque scream. You know the one I'm talking about, right? It's not that anymore. It's real communication, and I can fully understand him now. And oh my God, it's almost as life-changing as when he slept through the night. That's how awesome it is.
Except that doesn't happen anymore.
So that's my win.
Oh, love it.
Give me some Dexter time.
Darling, what is your parent pick of the week? Like, if you had to say, this is really awesome, what would you recommend to our listeners?
I got a super freaking awesome parent pick this time.
Go for it.
So, after you put the kid to bed, you got some time to yourself and you got to relax, or you're having a bad day or whatever. You
had a bad day.
Oh, God, do not sing that song in my presence.
My favorite part is when Alvin and the Chipmunks do it.
No. Oh my! Okay.
That is like so cute.
For those of you who don't know, Mary has this really unhealthy obsession with the Alvin and the Chipmunks movie. Like the really bad ones with Jason Lee and like the animatronic, whatever, not animatronic, but like CGI chipmunks. Oh my God, they're so bad. Anyway,
I can't get enough.
They're Chipwrecked. I would say by far the worst movie ever created.
Even worse than the Squeakquel.
Oh my God.
Anyway,
again, you're hijacking my segment. Damn you. Anyway, you had a bad day. You need something to help.
You want to start singing it right now, don't you?
Had a bad day.
Okay, continue.
Okay.
You would not be cast as Alvin. I could tell you that. What is your parent pick?
Finally, let's get to it. So you need something to pick you up a little bit, right?
Yeah.
My recommendation to you is this beer called Ommegang. I'm not sure. Ommegang, maybe? It's Ommegang. Ommegang. It's out of Cooperstown, New York.
I think it has 3 syllables, but continue.
Well, whatever it is. I don't care. It's out of Cooperstown, New York, and it is. We just discovered it, and we discovered it actually because they make this beer that's based on Game of Thrones. Well, I had a different one, but it is phenomenal. So go get this beer, Ommegang or Ommegang, whatever it is.
That's the brewing company.
Yeah,
so.
that's the brewery. That's the brewery. Maybe I'll put it up on the show notes. But it's wonderful. I had the Hennepin, and oh my God, it really set me up last night. Really good. It was awesome. How about you, my darling? What's you?
My parent pick of the week is actually for the OtterBox Defender Series iPhone case.
The Autobots?
Otter. Yeah, hey.
Roll out.
Transformers. Otter, like, the little water furry creature.
The water.
Water, like he hangs out in the water and he builds forts. Anyway, so OtterBox Defender Series. I know I'm pretty late on the OtterBox bandwagon, but those things were really expensive in the beginning, and I was pretty careful with my phone. And then my baby turned into a toddler, and sometimes he finds my phone. Sometimes I give him my phone. Sometimes the phone falls because I sleep 4 hours a night. Who knows? So the Defender Series, here's why I like it. It comes with this protective screen. So if your child puts the phone in his or her mouth, it doesn't get slobbered on because it's protected. So it's hardcore protection. So the OtterBox Defender Series, that is my parent pick of the week. you were making fun of me for doing my like Native American dance, and yet you like to pretend that you're a steel drum band every single time that plays. I see you with your pen and your little like pretend little mallets sitting over there, pretending you're, on the Jamaican.
It's my
steel
Dexter
drum band.
dance. We all know this. This is how the Dexter segment came about.
I agree, but it's like, you gotta give a girl a break when she wants to let
No,
loose.
I can totally make fun of you anytime I choose.
Okay.
Never, ever make fun of the Dexter dance again.
All right. All right, everybody. We loved having this episode and having so much listener feedback. So we want to make sure that you know how to reach out to us. Don't forget our website. It's ParentCastPodcast.com. Go check it out. All of our episodes are up there. So if this is your first time listening to us, please check out the previous 13.
And if you want to do some more Dexter dancing like me, you can. You can listen to the song all the time you want. But you can also find us on Facebook at ParentCast. No, at facebook.com/ParentCast.
There you go. We are also up on Twitter. Okay. All you need to do is tweet at us. It's really simple. Our username is ParentCast.
And we already got some email today too, so you can get us at parentcast@gmail.com. And you know what too, also? Find us on iTunes, rate us, and review us.
Yes, that's what I really want to push. And if you don't know how to use iTunes, I'm going to let you know. I will just go on there and give a little tutorial. But if you're having a problem, shoot me a message on Facebook. Write us a message on ParentCast, because iTunes has already been able to help promote us, and we want more people to help find out about us. So if you do have access to iTunes and you know how to use it, check us out there and make sure you leave us a review.
Nothing less than 5 stars will do.
Oh yeah,
nothing.
That's just how we roll.
Even if you don't like us, just give us 5 stars.
Thanks. Blake, episode 15 is coming up. Tell us what we have.
It's all going to be about dental health for babies.
Pearly whites.
What to expect and how to get them there and what to do. So make sure you get us listener feedback and also get us some ideas for episode 16. It's all up to you guys. It's going to be awesome. So get us that info. And if it's good, we'll put it on. If it sucks, well then, as always, you're left out. Bye.
Thanks, everybody. ParentCast is a Tall Mom Media production. Please do not take anything that we say as true facts. We are not specialists or really anything. We're just parents who are trying to figure this thing out. So research things on your own.
Don't sue us.
Please.
We're poor.